Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we prepare to determine who will be our final four to compete for the championship in the 5th season of the NNSCRA Hersheys Cup Series next week at Auto Club Speedway. Tonight, we're getting ready for the running of the Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway, the track where in most series the champions are determined. However, this is going to be the track that's going to determine who's going to be the champion at the upcoming track next week. We've already run our Tax Slayer Truck Series race here 2 nights ago and our Pizza Hut X Series race here last night, in which we've determined the final four to compete for those respective championships next week at Auto Club. Tonight, it's time to find out who's going to qualify for the biggest championship of them all. We have 8 drivers that are going to vie for 4 available spots, whether it be points-wise or one of those 8 go to victory lane here tonight and clinch an automatic spot into the final 4 next week. These 8 drivers, 2 of them former champions of the series, getting set here tonight with the points really close from 3rd on down through 8th. Any one of the drivers can fall outside of the top 4, and any one of the drivers outside the top 4 can move their way up into the top 4 points-wise. That's why stage points will probably be very critical here this evening. Let's give you a look at what the overview of the points is with those Elite 8. Joshua Michaels comes in as the points leader. He has a 31-point gap between himself and the cutoff line, which means that he still is within striking distance of falling outside the top 30 or outside of the top 4 in the point standings should he be involved in an early wreck. Trent Dunham is 6 points back from Joshua Michaels. He is 25 points ahead of the cut line. Same rule applies for him. Then you've got Garrett Sydnor and Dylan Young. They are actually both tied for the cutoff line position at 3,048 points apiece. So a lot of pressure going to be on them. Chris Dodd is the highest starting playoff driver here tonight, rolling off from 4th. He is 5th in the point standings, only 3 points behind the cut line. Anthony McCrury is 6th in the standings. He is a total of 9 points behind the cut line. 10 points behind the cut line is Sean Gallighan in 7th, and Daniel Gilbert comes into this race 8th of the 8 playoff drivers, but he's only 18 points behind the cut line. So it is that close for drivers to be able to move their way in or fall out of the top 4 in the point standings. I'm going to get a drink of water here so my throat will be ready for the broadcast. Here's your command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So give me 1 second while I get a drink, and we will continue the commentary in just a minute. There we go. I just woke up, so my throat is a little bit dry, and I wasn't going to go through a full 54 laps with a dry throat. Not fun. So, 54 laps here tonight. Our stage is going to be split exactly into thirds, so we will be ending up having our stages of 18, 18, and 18. So the completion of laps 18, 36, and 54 is when the stage points will be awarded. Chris Dodd, who mentioned, is the highest starting playoff driver in 4th. Trent Dunham, just kitty corner to him there on the inside of row 3 in the 5th position. And we'll have to see just how soon the other playoff contenders start trying to make their way towards the front. Anthony McCrury starting just outside of the top 10 there, and then a ways back before you get to some of our other playoff contenders. So see what happens here. We had only 1 caution take place in our Truck Series race, 3 cautions in the first 20 laps of our Pizza Hut X Series race here last night. Will we see the yellow flag here in tonight's race, or is there a possibility we could see green flag pit stops come in play? We'll find out. Green flag's in the air. The Ford EcoBoost 400 is underway. Let's roll. Isn't going to take long for them to battle for the lead. J Baskinger started on pole. K Shearer is going to be the leader out of turn number 2. And here comes Trent Dunham in the 1. He wants to lead the first lap of the evening here at Homestead. Already 3 wide back there. They settled it back out to double wide. Dallas McIntosh was in the middle of all that. As Trent Dunham will lead the first lap, and that's a bonus point that Trent Dunham picks up for leading the lap. As K Shearer way up the racetrack, and he's going to be out of the groove. And also I noticed his teammate Chris Dodd is way up there top side as well. There's no grip up in that lane just there, that light gray. See this dark gray that they're in? That inside and middle group, there's grip there. But you get up in that light gray, there's no grip, and you're going to start free falling. And I think that's exactly what's happening to the two teammates out of CJ Racing. Looks like Tim Walsh, also another entry out of CJ Racing, is falling back on that high groove as well. As the battle is on up front, Keith Batson all over the back bumper of Trent Dunham. Lee and Alvarise right there as well in the Aaron's Dream Machine. And now the battle will be for second. Alvarise to the inside of Batson. Alvarise trying to become the third CJ Racing entry to go to victory lane this season. Trent Dunham trying to go to victory lane for the third time this year. Already he and his teammate Dallas McIntosh have been to victory lane twice. The other teammate out of Sega Motorsports, Blaine Keys, still looking for his first win of the season. And now Alvarise will make the move to the inside. Nothing Trent Dunham can do to try and block the advance, and Lee and Alvarise will jump to the lead. But for how long? Keith Batson now takes a peek to the inside as they were almost three wide there. Jessica Shelton thought about going up the middle three wide with the Sega Motorsports teammates Dallas McIntosh and Trent Dunham, and now they are three wide. McIntosh, Batson, and Alvarise making it three wide through 1 and 2 as McIntosh will go to the lead. Now Shelton to the bottom of the racetrack is, whoa, right there. Trent Dunham slipped up a little bit, and I think Alvarise realized that. He reacted, and he nearly went up into the wall there in turn 3, as Shelton will lead that lap. Here comes Dylan Poteet, and now Cody Llamas going to make it three wide. This is basically a home track for Cody Llamas in that 4018. Same for Dylan Young in the 2. A lot of Florida natives in this field, and they would love to be able to win in front of their home crowd. You notice Dylan Young there in the 2 car in 5th place. He's working his way up to the front right now, the highest running playoff contender. For Joshua Michaels, Dylan Young, and Daniel Gilbert, those 3 that are remaining in the Elite 8, this is the first time they've ever taken part in a Hersheys Cup Series playoff system. Everybody else has been here before at least once of the remaining 5 drivers. But those 3, Dylan Young, Daniel Gilbert, and Joshua Michaels, make it into the Final Four to compete for the championship in their first ever postseason appearance as Cody Llamas out in front, showing the way there in the 48 rather. Dylan Young going to make the move there on Keith Batson. That's for 3rd place. So far, good racing up here at the front. Good racing all the way through the field, as a matter of fact. We're still green flag racing too, which is the good news. But now throws into question what's going to happen when this thing goes long green flag run as far as green flag pit stops, because we ran only 41 laps in the Truck Series race and only 41 laps in the Pizza X Series race. This is an extra 13 laps on the scheduled distance here for the Hersheys Cup Series drivers. It means that more than likely they will not be able to make it the full distance on 1 tank of fuel, as Shelton now back to the lead. And here comes Dylan Young trying to counter the bonus point that Trent Dunham got earlier. That lap led. Dylan Young, we mentioned, came into this race tied with Derek Cinder in the cutoff line. Both were tied for the 3rd position, so they were 3rd and 4th. Dylan Young going to try and lead the lap, and I don't think he did it. I think Shelton led that lap by a splitter, and the ticker agrees with me. 3 wide for 2nd, though. McIntosh, Batson, Shelton. There was contact right there between the 14 and 39. I thought they were going to wreck on the exit of 2, but somehow they didn't. And now McIntosh on the inside of Dylan Young. These two going to have a drag race to the start-finish line. Dylan Young desperately trying to lead a lap here at Homestead, and he still's not going to be able to do it. That time McIntosh on the inside line beat him to the stripe. Chris Dodd making his way back up towards the front there in the 88. Sean Gallighan in the 44 is also making his way up towards the front. 7th of the 8 playoff contenders in the points coming into this race. Now McIntosh out in front trying to pick up his 3rd win of the season. Dylan Poteet right behind him was a 3-time winner this last season. Only 1 win this year, that came at Phoenix. Manuel Hartnett there in the 83 is now up in the mix. There is He's looking for his first win of the season. And how about James Richardson, the defending winner from last week in Talladega, picking up his second win of the year. Now he's up here in the mix, looking to go back-to-back in the last 2 weeks. We're noticing all this good racing up here at the front. And I mentioned that we've got Chris Dodd, Dylan Young, and Sean Gallighan, as well as Trent Dunham. They're now up here inside the top 15. But what about the rest of our playoff contenders? Where are they at? There's Joshua Michaels. He's, last time by, scored in the 23rd position. A couple spots behind him is Daniel Gilbert, currently scored in 25th. Anthony McCrury, we saw him up towards the front a couple laps ago. He's now faded back here to the 27th position. And one driver that is precariously missing is G Sydnor. Where is he? There he is. He is currently all the way back in the 38th spot. As Chris Dodd will go to the race lead. It looks like he will be the second playoff driver here tonight that will lead a lap. And Trent Dunham is wrecked! He just got into Brooke Allen! And he's gonna come back up in traffic! Caution's out! And Kyle Mathews clobbers him! Look out! Oh, and Caleb Farrell! There's more cars that are gonna be coming into view here in just a minute. G Sydnor was one of them. T Walch and Brandon Gonzales, I think they get through it. Caution is out. And the championship hopes for Trent Dunham may have just taken a barrel roll as Chris Dodd leads us back to the start-finish line. And this is with about maybe 2 laps to go in our first stage. And Trent Dunham, I mentioned that Dunham and Michaels, yeah, Michaels had a 31-point advantage back to the cut line. Trent Dunham a 25-point advantage, but it didn't mean they were safe. And Trent Dunham with a wild ride here. I don't know exactly what started it, but it looked like contact with Levi McIntyre and Brooke Allen, and then he got clobbered by Kyle Mathews, and then another shot from Caleb Farrell, and it looks like Trent Dunham's Ford EcoBoost 400 event comes to an early end here this evening. The question remains, though, on was he far enough ahead of the cut line that he could still somehow squeak into the final 4? I don't know. This is an important battle here coming off pit road, so we're going to have to stick with the 88 of Chris Dodd, because if Chris Dodd's able to win the battle off pit road, he will more than likely, under pacing when we go and look at the replay, be able to complete stage 1 as the winner. And that's exactly what he's going to do, is he's going to easily win the battle off of pit road. So it looks like Chris Dodd, when we come back from our replay, will be the winner of stage 1. Those are going to be 10 valuable stage points he wins, and if he does make it into the final 4, 1 extra playoff point he will have over the other 3 competitors at Auto Club next week. So for now, as Chris Dodd leads us under pacing and more than likely will win stage 1 under caution, let's take a look and see what happened to another playoff contender in Trent Dunham. And it wasn't Levi McIntyre, it was Sean Gallighan. And Gallighan just appeared to get either, I think he got tight off the corner, he got up into Trent Dunham's left rear, and right here, Dunham's down to Brooke Allen. It looks like they were going to save it, but unfortunately that inside wall just came a little too soon. Both cars hit the inside wall, and I thought maybe, just maybe, Trent was going to be able to drive away and not come up into traffic, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. The car continues to turn the wrong direction, and then as the front end sticks out into the racing line, into the entrance of turn number 1, there's just absolutely nowhere for Kyle Mathews to go. I mean, you cannot go high. K Shearer's there, and you can't slow down enough to be able to go low. That is a hard hit. Look at J Baskinger just squeak by. His teammate J Arndt's going to just barely squeak through as well. And then Caleb Farrell, you'll see in the 95, is going to come into view as the 1 barrel rolls back down into the racing line. There's going to be nowhere for Farrell to go, and that is a shot into the roof. That is a shot into the roof of that Chevrolet. That is one of the worst places to get plowed into. I mean, I understand that there is a championship on the line. I understand that there's a playoff system going on right now. But with the shot I saw right there and the impact to the roof area, I am right now more concerned for the health and safety of Trent Dunham. I certainly hope he is all right, because that is maybe one of the scariest hits I have seen any driver take all season long in regards to the position it was in and the point of impact when the 95 hit him. That is scary to watch. Hope Trent is all right, but Homestead-Miami playing a factor here into the postseason for sure, as it looks like Trent Dunham could very well not be moving on to Auto Club as a championship competitor. Getting ready to go back green flag racing, and as you can see down on the bottom right of your screen, Chris Dodd, under caution, was the winner of Stage 1. And so Chris Dodd will be having 10 valuable stage points, and if he makes it into the Final Four next week, he'll have one extra playoff point over the rest of his competition, but he's got to make it there first. Brooke Allen's going to start on the inside line one lap down after the contact she received in that wreck, and 3 drivers are out of the race after the incident. They include Caleb Farrell, Trent Dunham, and Kyle Mathews. We can tell you that Trent Dunham got out of his race car and got into the ambulance on the mandatory trip to the infield care center under his own power, so that is certainly a good sign, but obviously a tough break for him, though, as it does not look like he will be moving on to the Championship 4. I also would like to make an apology here, because you're going to be seeing drivers that retire out of the race and whatnot here. You're going to be seeing them listed as a lap down and not with the actual reason of why they're out of the race. The reason being, apparently my fraps decided to record to my internal hard drive, and it filled up all the space and didn't save the external. So fortunately I have been able to save this race. I haven't lost this race footage and everything, but it is not live. So that is the only problem. So I do apologize for that. As we are back green, Chris Dodd, Jessica Shelton were able to get around the green Brooke Allen, but it looks like everybody else had some difficulty. We should also make mention as well that Dylan Young was the only other playoff driver besides Chris Dodd to receive playoff stage points for that first stage, finishing 6th, so he got 5 stage points. And why is that important? Well, Dylan Young, let's remember, came into this race as the cutoff line driver, so very important stage points picked up by the 2 team. Tell you another driver that this caution really benefited, and that was the 38 of G Sydnor, because he was back around the 37-38 position we saw before that caution came out. That yellow flag may give that team an opportunity to be able to try and bounce back. Speaking of bouncing back, how about Sean Gallighan? He was the one that basically triggered that wreck there with Trent Dunham out of 4, and now he has cracked the top 10, currently in the 8th position. For Trent Dunham, his only hope right now is that someone like G Sydnor, Dylan Young, Anthony McCrury, Sean Gallighan, David Gilbert, that they encounter some kind of problems here tonight and also finish down in the 30s. And then I think Trent would have a chance, maybe points-wise, with the 25-point gap he had between himself and the cut line coming into this race, to maybe make it into the Final Four. We saw that same kind of a situation basically happen last night in the Pizza X Series. RJ Reynolds was involved in a wreck, but he had such a gap between himself and the cut line that drivers weren't able to finish high enough to knock him out of the Final Four to be for the championship next week at Auto Club. So Trent Dunham hoping he can be in the same situation. Right now things not looking like they're going to be working that way for him, because Sean Gallighan's actually going to lead a lap right there by a splitter over Emmanuel Hartnett. And now Dylan Young going to try and do the same, as he's got to get by last year's runner-up Blaine Keys in the 42. He was looking for his first win of the year. Young will complete the pass, though. This track is, I guess you could consider it a home track for Dylan Young. Dylan Young, a Florida native. I don't know which track he considers more his home track, though, this or Daytona. Maybe both of them. And we know that he's got some ties to Chicago as well. As 3 wide and almost some contact right there between a couple of playoff contenders, Chris Dodd and Dylan Young, as James Richardson goes to the lead. Here comes Levi McIntyre now to the inside. He's going to go for the top spot. Got a couple of the mix right behind Richardson, McCloud and McIntyre. And now as they got caught up behind the 3 of the slower lap machine of Brooke Allan, McIntyre and Richardson got by. They've gotten away, and Chris Dodd has gotten backed up behind Brooke Allan, and they were 4 wide for a brief moment there with 4 playoff contenders. It was Gallighan, Young, Michaels, and Chris Dodd 4 wide at one point there, and we've seen all weekend long what 4 wide off turn 4 does. It's a wonder we did not just have a wreck right there. Look at the spots Chris Dodd is losing, though. Now finally going to get to the inside of Brooke Allan, but he's even going to get passed there by Garrett Sydnor in the 38. Sydnor has currently fought his way up to the 25th position. Now make it 22nd as he crosses the line. That dropped Chris Dodd all the way back to the 25th spot. So Sydnor, as we mentioned, that caution very timely for him, helping him to stay on the lead lap, and now he is running the highest he's been on the track all night long, trying to crack the top 20. Jessica Shelton, apparently Brooke Allan must have played havoc with her as well. She's now back here, and she was up at the front just moments ago. There's Brooke Allan, and there's 2 championship competitors way back here. Daniel Gilbert in the 4, Anthony McCurry in the 61, and they were 6th and 8th in the points coming into this race. Needed a good run. And right now, they're not having it. Gilbert scored in the 32nd spot. McCurry was scored 31st, but I think he's dropped back even more. He may be back last car on the lead lap now in 35th. I think he is. And those 2 came into this race for Gilbert, 18 points behind the cut line. For McCurry, 9 points behind the cut line. And the drivers they were trying to run down, like Dylan Young and Garrett Sydnor, they are running ahead of them on track at this current point in time. Mentioned that Trent Dunham had a gap between himself and the cut line coming into this race, hoping that's enough to maybe sustain him to get into the final 4. Well, another driver that had a gap but is running well at the moment is Joshua Michaels. He's now up to the 12th position in that Honda Accord. Joshua Michaels trying to get the best momentum he can heading into Auto Club, where I have a feeling he's going to be a part of the Final 4, and we should keep in mind Joshua Michaels is a former winner at the Auto Club Speedway. I believe it was back in Season 2. Joshua Michaels went to victory lane in the season finale. So that could give him a bit of an advantage over whoever it is he's going to be facing off against with the championship on the line next week. I recall as well, I'm almost certain it was Season 2, and if it was Season 2, I believe it was the first year that Joshua Michaels debuted in a Honda Accord. So it could all come full circle. Just keep in mind, next week is going to be the final start for Joshua Michaels in the Hersheys Cup Series. Announcing his retirement from the series is Brooke Allan again playing havoc with the race leaders, and I think at this point, Brooke Allan should just call it a night or something. It's the second time that Brooke Allan has caused problems for the race leaders and is still backing them up back there. McIntyre, McCloud, and Alvarise there to top 4. Keith Batson's now worked his way up to 4th place. And Michaels has now cracked the top 10. Another driver who's actually getting close to making his final Hersheys Cup Series start is Nathan Hudson. He's now up in the top 10 there, running just behind Emmanuel Hartnett. And Nathan Hudson a few weeks ago entered into the 100 race winless streak. And it would be great to see him go to victory lane here tonight, snap that winless streak. I mean, I know as commentator you're supposed to be unbiased and impartial, but, I mean, come on, how can you not pull for a sentimental favorite like the 29 car, especially with the season he's been having? I mean, more than likely not going to be finishing the season out inside the top 30 in the points. He's currently in a position where if the season were to end now, the Michael Norman Motorsports team would not have a charter for the 29 next year. I mean, it's just been anything but an ideal season for Nathan Hudson to go out on, but to see him be able to win here tonight, that would be incredible. As Cole Baker to the race lead, but for how long? Emmanuel Hartnett going to make a move, and how about G Sydnor? Never give up for the 38 team. He's now cracked the top 10. Now battling with Dylan Young and Sean Gallighan, and as things stand right at the moment, it's almost looking like the Final Four could be Michaels, Dylan Young, G Sydnor, and Sean Gallighan. Down here, and looks like McCrury and Gilbert have worked their way back up to 29th and 30th. As now Alvarise and Hudson going to battle. Got some traffic up here the leaders may have to deal with. First car they'd encounter would be Dylan Poteet. I think Poteet is up to speed. He may have just gotten held up behind Brooke Allen too long or something. And Joshua Michaels is going to take a turn out in front there in the 10 car. Bit of a comeback there for Michaels as well. We never talked about him during the first half of the race. But it doesn't look like he's going to get the lead a lap. McCloud's going to bypass him before he gets to the start-finish line. Oh, we got a car on the apron there. Chris Dodd's on pit road. There's no caution. The 88's on pit lane. Chris Dodd, who won the first stage, is on pit road. I don't see any smoke, so I don't know if we had a wreck or not. And McCloud's going to go around the outside of Brooke Allen. Everybody else going to get boxed in behind the 3 again. But Chris Dodd is on pit road, so I have to assume it's a mechanical problem. It looked like his car came to a stop on the front straightaway. Oh, man. We've already had one playoff contender encounter problems tonight in Trent Dunham, which may have ended his hopes of moving on to the Final Four. And now, a former champion of the series, Chris Dodd, may be the next. As we haven't even reached 10 laps to go in this race. And I think the 88 is... yeah, he's gone behind the wall. Oh, man. It was looking like it was going to be a good night for Chris Dodd. It was looking like he was going to have a chance to be a 2-time champion in the Hersheys Cup Series, or at least have a chance for it next week. He won the first stage, but then it just seemed like everything went wrong. He got boxed in behind Brooke Allen and dropped him outside the top 20. And now some mechanical problem has ended the evening of the 88 team. James McCloud last year was a 2-time winner, made the playoffs in his rookie season, looking for his first win this year. Nathan Hudson right there in second, bringing along fellow Brit Sean Gallighan in the 44. Remember, for Gallighan, if he wins, it's an automatic ticket into the Final Four at Auto Club. Dylan Young's right there as well. J Sydnor battling back there with J Baskinger, that's just outside the top 10. Got some new faces up here inside the top 10 as well. Benjamin Miles up to 9th and Quentin Moore to 10th. Pit stops are going to take place here with 10 laps remaining. McCloud, Gallighan, Batson, Miles, they're on pit road, and that's going to turn the race lead over to Hudson there at the line. And we're getting word it was a valve that sent Chris Dodd to the garage. Man. Here comes Alvarise to pit road. Hartnett, they're double wide there on the access road. Richardson and Hudson, and boy, Alvarise ran the corner really wide. Oh, in contact with Hudson, and they're going to spin right up back up onto the racetrack. I don't think anybody hit them, but is the caution out is the question. They didn't hit anything, but did that bring out a yellow? Pace car's gone. Caution's out. And the leader is Dylan Young in the 2. Now he'll have to come to pit road, but Dylan Young's the race leader, and the caution is out with about 8 laps remaining in this race. And Nathan Hudson, having a good run once again, gets caught up in an incident. K Llamas is smoking. I don't know what happened to him. A lot of damage on the low Chevy. And he was up inside the top 10. Brooke Allen, looks like she's got damage. There may have been another incident on the access road here, I don't know. But Dylan Young, along with Levi McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, and Tim Walsh, they all stayed out, and they are the top 4 to come to pit road here. But I think this caution, with the way it came out right in the middle of green flag pit stops, is certainly going to make it a rather wonky looking start when we get back green. We will get back green. There's about 7 laps remaining. We will get back green. And there you see Young, McIntyre, Shelton, and Walsh gas and go for the 2 car, as well as the 99. Remember, these 2 were teammates last season for Young Motorsports. Now Levi McIntyre with Metal Maniacs Motorsports, and Dylan Young still with Young Motorsports, but you got to think they have still some kind of a little bit of alliance, being former teammates from the past 2 seasons. But Dylan Young wins the battle off of pit road. Now the question is, where does he line up? It looks like James Richardson in 5th was a full minute behind. Looks like 5th on back were practically a lap down to the 4 drivers that stayed out. So it looks like it will be Young, McIntyre, Shelton, and Walsh that will restart 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. But for now, let's take a look at a replay of what brought out this yellow flag. A very weird caution to come out right in the middle of green flag pit stops. Leon Alvarise was the race leader, but he gave it up right here to come to pit road. And watch how he takes it on the access road. Right there is maybe what his problem was. When he hit the grass, there was nothing for traction to keep his car from drifting up the track. He actually goes back up on the racing surface, then turns it hard left, and at the same time, Nathan Hudson gets into the grass. His car is going to slide wide, and the both of them just make contact. And boy, one guy that was very lucky was Levi McIntyre, because watch how the 29 and the 08, they're going to spin right back up towards the track, and right there, you see that banking between the apron and the racetrack? That killed the momentum. I think the rear deck lids hit that banking. That stopped them from going any further up the track. Otherwise, they might have swept the 99 up as well. But since they did spin back up onto the racing surface, good call by NNSCRA officials to bring out that yellow. There was contact right there between Jessica Shelton and Tim Walsh as well. And I think they were going to come to pit road, but Shelton kind of boxed Tim Walsh from getting to pit lane. And I don't know if that was a mistake on their part or what, but it may end up getting them top 5 finishes because they both stayed out. And oh my goodness, K Llamas. Wow. Did he hit the 08 or something? Because that car just went straight up the track. Oh, he hit the 29. Just before Nathan Hudson's car that was stuck on the track teleports to pit road. K Llamas right there. Oh, man. And it didn't look like Cody was going to come to pit road, and he was going to be still on the lead lap. He was up inside the top 10 when he crossed the line. Oh, Brooke Allen. Did the 3 hit somebody as well? She might have hit the 08. Yes, she did. So Cody got the 29, and Brooke got the 08. Well, that 3 car was badly damaged already and is going to be even more badly damaged, and that just spells out the season K Llamas has had. Just cannot catch a break. And he gets involved in this one. So green flag pit stop. So the cause of this yellow flag, let's see what the restart, the lineup's going to look like. as we get ready to go back green. The lights are out atop the pace car. We've been given the indication we will go back green with a total of 3 laps remaining in this race. Dylan Young is the race leader, and like I said, I had a feeling with the way that caution came out right in the middle of the green flag pit stop cycle, we were going to have a wonky looking restart, and that's exactly what the case is. Dylan Young is basically almost at the tail end of the field right now, but he's the race leader. Second place is Levi McIntyre. He's going to restart right behind him. Then you got a few lap cars here before you get to third place. There is Jessica Shelton, going to be restarting about 4 seconds behind the race leader. Tim Walsh is in 4th place. 5th place is right here. James Richardson at the front of the field, over a full minute and a half behind race leader Dylan Young. Then Emmanuel Hartnett is 6th, McCloud is 7th, 8th is Baskinger, 9th is Batson, and 10th is Blaine Keys. So like I said, this caution when it came out has definitely shuffled the field up. So Dylan Young is the highest running playoff driver. He's the only playoff driver in the top 10, restarting with the lead as the green flag is in the air. Sean Gallighan restarts in 15th. G Sydnor is in 18th. Joshua Michaels in 20th. Daniel Gilbert 21st. McCrury's now a lap down in 25th. And Chris Dodd, we already mentioned, out of the race along with Trent Dunham. So this is the battle for the win right here, basically, between the 2 and the 99, and they got to work their way through traffic that's on the tail end of the lead lap. Dylan Young going to get around Garrett Sydnor in the 38. McIntyre's getting boxed in right now. Cole Baker causing some problems, along with Cody Smart. That's a teammate to Dylan Young right there, maybe playing defense for the 2. Dylan Young has never made a postseason in Hersheys Cup Series career. He's got a chance here to make it into the Final Four with a victory here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. This next time around, he will see the white flag, and it's about 5 cars back to McIntyre, who is boxed in. There's nowhere for McIntyre to go. McIntyre's got to pass 8 cars, including Dylan Young, to win this race. Make it 10 cars now as Young gets by Shearer and Fitzwater. Dylan Young setting sail. He's going to win tonight in front of his home crowd. He's going to be battling for the championship at Auto Club. Out of 4 for the final time. The Ford EcoBoost 400 will go to Dylan Young. He's into the championship for next week at Auto Club. But who joins him is the question. That caution may have made the field running order go wonky in more than one respect. Dylan Young will get the win. With the win, he automatically punches his ticket into the Final Four at Auto Club. But I don't think we can know for absolute certainty who will join him just yet, until we take a look at the finishing results and try and figure this out. Boy, everything went right for Dylan Young right there. When that caution came out, being able to get off pit road first, and then the traffic he had to deal with. I mean, McIntyre was nearly 10 cars behind Dylan Young coming to the checkered flag, even though he was only a second and a half back from the race lead. Let's take a look at the finishing results here from tonight's race. Sorry about that, had to answer my telephone, but as I come back and take a look at a quick glance here, there's 2 drivers I do know for certain are going to be battling for the championship next week. One of them is obviously Dylan Young with the win. The other one is going to be Joshua Michaels. He managed to finish in the 9th position. He came in with that pretty big gap of 31 points. Back to the cut line, there's no doubt he's going to be moving on to compete for the championship. So 2 drivers who make their very first playoff appearance will be battling for the championship next week. But now the question is, what about spots 3 and 4? It's basically, I think, going to be coming down between Sean Gallighan, Daniel Gilbert, and Garrett Sydnor because of the fact that Chris Dodd is out of the race. But I think that Trent Dunham could still have a shot of making it into the Final Four. We're going to have to see. I think Anthony McCrury with a 25th place finish, I think he's out of the conversation. Daniel Gilbert managed to finish in 12th. So let's try and do some math here real quickly and see if we can figure this out. We know Trent Dunham finishes out of the race in the 38th position. So that's basically where we're going to be basing a lot of these calculations off of. Excuse me. Gilbert came into the race 8 points behind Sean Gallighan. He had to finish at least 9 spots ahead of Gallighan. Gilbert was 12th and Gallighan was 23rd. That's 11 positions, so he passed Gallighan in the points. He had to pass McCrury in the points by 10 positions. Did he do that? McCrury finished in 25th. He ended up finishing 12th, so that was 13 spots he finished ahead of McCrury, so he passed him in the points. Chris Dodd, he needed to finish 16 spots ahead of Chris Dodd. So Chris Dodd had to finish 28th or worse, which he did. He finished out of the race in 36th. So Gilbert passed Chris Dodd in points. He obviously didn't pass Dylan Young in the point standings. He then would have had to have finished a total of 18 spots ahead of Garrett Sydnor, which he did not do. He only finished 12 spots ahead of Garrett Sydnor, so now he needs to pass Trent Dunham. Did he do that is the question. He needed to finish 43 positions ahead of Trent. He did not do that. So right now, Trent is still in the Final Four at this current point in time. Now the question is, what about Sean Gallighan? The guy who got into Trent Dunham that brought out the first caution of the evening. Gallighan finishes the evening out in 23rd. Neither Gallighan nor Dunham got any stage points here tonight, and both of them led a lap, so that canceled each other out. Gallighan came into this race a total of 35 points behind Trent Dunham, with Dunham finishing in 38th. Gallighan needed to finish on the podium, and with a 23rd place finish, that's not going to make it. So I'm absolutely 100% certain, you can quote me on this, the drivers that came into this race in the top 4 positions are leaving here tonight as your 4 competitors for the championship. I believe it's going to be Joshua Michaels, Garrett Sydnor, Dylan Young, and just by the skin of his teeth, even though he finished out of the race tonight, I think Trent Dunham is going to be the 4th and final competitor to compete for the championship next week at Auto Club. But let's look at the finishing results here. I mean, there were some drivers that got some really good runs. Levi McIntyre there in second. How about Tim Walsh and Jessica Shelton as well? Ended up having that pit strategy work out in their favor to solid outings of 3rd and 4th. And Benjamin Miles was the first car to be across the start-finish line, even though he wasn't the winner. He was at the tail end of the lead lap. Finishes in 5th. Great run for him with Richardson, J Arndt, Brandon Gonzales, Joshua Michaels, and J Baskinger completing the top 10. As you look on down through the finishing results here from this race, we worked 2 cautions, 6 drivers out of the race. And boy, what a way to set up our season finale at Auto Club. So like I said though, on these calculations, do not quote me until you see the physical proof in front of you. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We show full video results. Here's your physical proof. Here's your rookie points, your overall points, and your playoff points, showing you mathematically the final 4 that will compete next week at Auto Club for the championship. Dylan Young punches his ticket in with his 2nd win of the season here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And with winning stage 3 tonight, Dylan Young will have a playoff point towards the final race of the season. So that 1 point could be a big difference maker for the 2 car. We will see you guys next week. Tax Slayer Truck Series, Pizza Hut X Series, Hersheys Cup Series championships will be decided at the Auto Club Speedway as we get ready to cap off what's been an exciting season for all 3 series. Till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.